Renaissance. You know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you won a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance.
Yo, let's go. Check it out. Training camp day 16. First joint practice. Jets versus the Atlanta Falcons. And yo, when I tell you our boys showed up today, our boys showed up today. We're gonna talk about it. Let's go.
Do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance. You know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you had a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
Okay, so like I said before, training camp day 16. Officially today, the first start of joint practices. We were able to go ahead and encounter the Atlanta Falcons today in practice. And man, when I tell you our boys showed out, our boys showed out. But I'm not just talking about like the whole team in general. Our rookies had a day today against the Atlanta Falcons. And we've been waiting for this for a long time. I think right now, as Jets fans, we're sick and tired of seeing whether the offense had a good day or the defense had a good day. I know I've been sick and tired of it, but seeing these guys do what they did today against the Atlanta Falcons makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. You know what? Call me naive. It's just practice. Practice? We talking about practice. It's just practice. I get that. I completely understand that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we don't see it correlate to game day. But what does matter is seeing what is possible when it comes to game day. And that's what we got today from today's joint practice. So, before we get into the good stuff, let's talk about the bad stuff. Ultimately, injuries. Injuries were a bad thing today, right? So we didn't see much of Quentin Williams. He didn't show up at all, right? So again, the Jets are being precautious with him. They're taking their time. They don't want to go ahead and put him out there unnecessarily to go ahead and get injured, cause injury, whatever the case might be. Makes perfect sense. Bryce Huff was seen on the sideline as well today, not participating. Kind of frustrating because I think Bryce Huff right now is somebody who's fighting for a roster spot, and it's going to be based off of purely what he brings to the table in a very, very talented freaking defensive line group. Man, that room is so stacked right now. We're talking about trading some of these guys for other additional assets. So kind of concerning to see our best speed rusher based off of course, the verbiage and, of course, the response he's gotten from other individuals inside of the organization about his quick, twitchy first step. He wasn't in today. Our boy Dwayne Brown also did not practice today. He was there. He was getting those mental reps in. Also very, very important. Also very valuable. But he didn't participate today on any of the drills, which again, we're all anxious to kind of see him get in there and just kind of see what he's about, which should bode well for us, seeing that individuals who did play in place of him did well. And boy, did those boys do work today. So it's cool. Dwayne Brown is getting those mental reps. He's doing what he needs to do to make sure he's good to go when it matters, which is during the season. We also saw Joyner and Bawden. No shows today. We didn't see Joyner, Bawden in anything. So not sure what's going on there. I didn't hear anything about any injuries, so maybe I missed it. Maybe it's something that I don't know, so I apologize if that's the case. But Quinton, Joyner, Bowden, they weren't in today. We didn't see much of them. And yeah, I think that's it. And Bryce Huff. Well, we already talked about that. Bryce Huff. So that was the negative, right? In terms of the injury report. And I say that because that is literally the only negative we get for today. Okay. So today, who showed out? Yo, the Falcons defense got, oh, I'm sorry. Well, defense and offense, but predominantly the Falcons offense got owned today. We were all kind of concerned after seeing the Jets come out a little bit stagnant in their first preseason game. It was very, very concerning because we were like, wait a minute, this suffocating defensive line where we've been getting so much hype and so much excitement about shows up and literally they walk down the field and score a touchdown. Seeing the Eagles do that was kind of painful. I'm not going to lie to you. But today, against the Falcons, we had numerous great plays by our defense. We're talking about sacks. Everybody in our offense, I'm sorry, everybody in our rookie class within the first two rounds made big time plays today. The kind of stuff we've been talking about this entire time. These guys need to show out in order for us to see the Jets really hit the ceiling of what they can achieve this season. Brees Hall on offense. 75-yard touchdown. Listen to me when I say this thing. It wasn't just that it was a 75-yard touchdown. It looked like this. Brees Hall with the cutback outran the entire starting defense of the Atlanta Falcons. But to further clarify this to you, that man is not running full speed. He is not running full speed. He was able to go ahead and get this score, get this touchdown. And I'm going to say max, we had Brees Hall participating at an 85% to 90% speed rate. This is not Brees Hall at full speed. 75-yard touchdown scamper. That deadly cut that he put on that freaking defender, man, that shows his shiftiness. This is a guy that's also 6'1", 220 pounds. This is a grown man playing football at this level, at this speed, with that level of shiftiness. If you can't get excited about that, man, I don't know what to tell you. So it started off with Brees Hall, literally just blowing it up. 75-yard touchdown scamper. Beautiful, beautiful. The defense, everybody ate. Carl Lawson ate. Jermaine Johnson ate. They put pressure in the backfield and were pretty much holding these guys down the entire time. Our secondary, our boy Sauce Ahmad Gardner got his first interception in training camp today. That interception came, of course, during the joint practices, in which, in all actuality, he had the opportunity to run that thing back to the other way, which could have been a pick six, given if it was allowed. I'm not sure why that didn't happen or why it didn't go the way it did, but it looked good. I know right now in one Jets drive, he's being told he has to earn the name of Sauce Gardner, but I promise you, that would have counted towards him earning that right. Nonetheless, Sauce Gardner gets his an interception, holding it down. We had plays being made in the secondary against Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, a nice breakup happened to him when the Mariota, I think, was going towards him and whatnot. So those guys were guarding tight ends. They were getting into the backfield, sacking the quarterback. The defensive line was chaotic the entire time. Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson made plays today with beautiful catches and showed off their yak ability after the catch. I'm talking about the stuff we've been talking about as to why Zach Wilson will break the record this season is because of the yak ability of the weapons he has on the roster. And you saw it on full display in Elijah Moore and in Garrett Wilson. Joe Flacco looked comfortable. One of the things that I saw a lot today in regards to Twitter was that, man, Joe Flacco looks so much more comfortable than he has ever looked against the Jets defensive front, defensive line. And it made me start thinking, okay, boom. If the defensive line of the Jets is that deep, that rich, right? This defense that Robert Saleh is implementing, we have seen how damaging and suffocating it can be to quarterbacks. If he's training in that environment, and then going out and performing the way he did today. Granted, it went 6 of 8. He started off a little bit slow. Of course, it picked up, with the touchdowns and whatnot. In the unscripted drills, oh my God, man, Joe Flacco went off today, had a day. It's just, I can't. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, freaking Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims making contested catches like it was easy for him. Like it just came natural for him. We're talking about a day in which the offense balled out and the defense balled out. This you couldn't ask for a better training camp than what we got today because it wasn't the same stuff we're seeing every single time where it's us versus us, right? And one or the other is going to get the best of the other individual side. And we as Jets fans, content creators, are like, oh man, that sucks. Now our defense looked bad today, or our offense looked bad today. We literally sat there competing against ourselves this entire freaking training camp. Today, we get the freaking chance to see them against other competition. Listen, we beat the Eagles. I think we need to don't forget we beat the Eagles. And it started off very ugly, but we didn't have our full starting defense in there. We didn't have our full starting lineup in terms of offense in there either. It looked ugly. I get it. Today we had more individual weapons on the field, and it showed just how dominant this team can potentially be. Now, before we get too excited, it's joint practices. I don't want y'all to sit here and think for a second I'm talking about, oh, Super Bowl, New York Jets. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm simply stating that what we didn't see in the preseason, we saw today. We saw the offense move the ball. We saw the playmakers make plays. Every single rookie the top 2 rounds that we brought in, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, freaking Brees Hall, had a day today. They balled out. These guys balled out. I don't think we can hold that for granted. We can't. We can't. We cannot. Now listen. I look at myself as an optimistic Jets fan. I am. I am who I am. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm gonna be real with it. But hey, look, after deploying to Iraq, you know what I'm saying, for a 7-8 month tour with no contradiction of whether or not we would be able to get back home because everybody to our left, our right, our front, our back hated us. They didn't want us there in the country. You know what I'm saying? You start to really look at like optimistic aspects. I can't help but look at optimism because I didn't expect to come back home from that, right? Like you don't expect to come back home when you go into a country and everybody hates you, right? And yet somehow, some way, you depend on and you trust on the person to your left and to your right, and you come home. So I'm an optimist all around. And I think that the Jets right now are starting to trust the man to their left and to their right. Joe Flacco has the command of this offense. He's probably going to be our starting quarterback here week 1, week 2. It's fine because we see what he can do with the weapons that we have on the roster. A quarterback is only as good as the weapons that they got, right? Let's be honest. If you don't got the freaking weapons, there's very few individuals who can just elevate everyone and anyone. You know, you got the Patrick Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers, the Brett Favre. You got those guys, right? Like who, well, you know what? You can put anybody out there. I can go out there and play for one of those guys, and I'm gonna be a Pro Bowler because they have the ability to find ways to make the team around them special. You don't get that vibe, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the Jets. I think that right now we have enough playmakers on this roster to where Mike White could start and we'd be okay. I really feel we've got so much talent. ESPN believes we have so much talent. Like, it's not just us saying it, it's universally known that when it comes to the talent aspect, in terms of youth and talent, the New York Jets are apparently top 3 in the NFL. Top 3 in the NFL. You can't discount that. So I'm excited about what we saw today because to me, it's just telling. It's just telling, man. Like there was some chippiness today, right? Teams were fighting one another. You know why it didn't bother me though? It didn't bother me because today we had Jets players fighting Falcons players. It wasn't Jets players fighting Jets players. Now again, we don't want the team to go ahead and just be violent for no reason and undisciplined. Don't want that. But I prefer to see the level of enthusiasm, aggressiveness, and alpha mentality now because then we know when they're freaking doing the kind of crap they did last year against our quarterback, taking those late hits or whatever, and then nobody came to his defense. I don't think that's going to happen this year with this team. People keep asking me like, they just have grit, you know? They now these guys have grit. They got toughness. They got some dogs on this roster, and you can keep popping off all you want to, but they're going to start biting. They're going to snap back. So I feel like, man, it's just so different. It's different for us because we're looking at a roster that was built right now to a lot of people are like, oh, we're nothing. We're not going to be anything this year. And I love it. I love it. I love it because people didn't think Cincinnati was going to be crap last year either. Oh, they made it to the Super Bowl. Wow. Okay, cool. So every time I hear somebody talk about like, oh, y'all have lost 59 games in the last 5 years. That's cute. That's cute. The Bengals lost 53. Didn't they make the Super Bowl last year? They were one of the top 10 most losingest teams of the last 5 years. 5 years. And yet, they made the Super Bowl last year. And they're considered one of the favorites again for this year because of the pure talent and the turnaround that they've had. Any given Sunday, man, any given Sunday, any given season, a little bit of luck goes your way to keep players healthy, and the talent does the rest. And we've got the talent on this roster. We've already sacrificed Mekhi Becton to the football gods. I'm still worried of injuries. I'm terrified of injuries. I'm really hoping that we don't have to worry about it. But nonetheless, the fact is we have talent and we have depth now. We haven't had depth in a while, and we have that now. The offensive line right now is a little bit stronger than it was last week. Would I like to go ahead and see a couple more solid pieces on there? Of course. Would I like to see somebody in the interior defensive line jump in that can potentially stop the run or known for stopping the run? Of course. But after that, man, our linebacker situation, people are concerned about it. look, Quincy Williams seems to be a fan favorite, but even if he sucks, Quan Alexander is pretty awesome, and I believe in CJ Mosley. I'm not as concerned about the linebacker position anymore as I once was. All right. I think right now it's interior defensive line. That's a big concern. And man, wow, maybe safety? Maybe safety? But we're hearing great things about Isaiah Dunn coming out of camp right now, which also speaks volumes to the progression and the talent that Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas saw in these guys. Because Isaiah Dunn's been making plays, nonstop plays, since he's been on the field. Like, man, it's so different. It's so different to be in this predicament. And so we had our boy, of course, Zach Wilson today driving around in the cart, right? He's back at MetLife Stadium. I'm sorry, at One Jets Drive. He's watching these practices. He's absorbing everything mentally, all very, 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 very valuable to his development. So when he does get back, he's hitting the ground running. I thought that was funny. We saw it being kind of a comical thing of him driving around in a cart, you know what I'm saying? But it literally he's driving from one side to the next side to get better angles and hearing of what's going on because he wants to be involved, right? I didn't see a brace on his knee either when he was driving around. Somebody that just had surgery a few days back, there was no brace on his knee. So oh man, I'm overly optimistic. I'm super pumped. Maybe that's again a fault of mine, but I can't help it. Wired this way based off of just my experiences in life. Even though the Jets have let us down quite a bit, and I completely 1,000% understand the PTSD argument of what's saying what has happened will happen again. I get that. But at some point, it changes around. The Cleveland Browns are no longer the laughing stock of the NFL. Granted, Deshaun Watson is a completely different story. The talent on that roster is very, very real. They became a team that everybody had playoff bound. Possibly not anymore. That we as Jets fans could potentially slide into their role as that freaking wild card. All right, Cincinnati Bengals. They were also a joke for quite some time. I don't think anybody's laughing at them anymore. These guys made it to the Super Bowl last year. They got their quarterback. They got a couple of weapons, right? Offensive line was still trash last year, and they still made it to the Super Bowl. Listen, I truly believe that we have the talent, we have the leadership, we have the ability to be the next Cincinnati Bengals or the next Cleveland Browns, right? I appreciate you guys for spending time with me. So I'm gonna cut it off right now. This has been your New York Jets situation report debrief. I'm your boy Gunny Gumby. I appreciate your time, your attention. Go Jets. I think great things are coming, man, and I think we just got to start believing and manifesting in it because this team is doing everything they can do to go ahead and prove to us that our faith and confidence and fanhood in them wasn't in vain. I think it's time we start go ahead and pushing a little bit back in terms of some positivity. So those guys feel the same way. Maybe that's just me. But this has been your New York Jets sit rep debrief. Again, I'm your boy Gunny Gumby. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And you know what? Till next time.
60%. So everyone knows I kind of have an infatuation with the Navy SEALs. I just a lot of respect for them, and they talk about fight or flight. Everybody's fight or flight doesn't kick in until you've achieved 40% of what you're capable of, and everyone's 40% is different. So when you're on the field and you feel like you've gone far enough, you've only accessed 40% of what you're capable of, and you got 60% more. And to get into it, you've got to go to a dark place, and the darker you get, the more you'll access. So that's about it.